All right, so step one for cleaning the stall, you want to make sure that you have all of your tools. So nice flat shovel, pitchfork, wheelbarrow. And the first thing you're going to do is go around the stall and get all of the major stuff that's really easy to see. So at this point, I'm not trying to move the bedding around or anything like that. I'm just getting everything that's really obvious. Any of the wet spots, I'm going to pick up with the shovel. And that ensures that you get the stall, all of the wet bedding out all the way down to the mat and keep it from smelling. So there's a couple spots in here that are very obvious at this point, and those are the ones I'm going to remove. So once I've completed that, if there's a bunch of manure, if you kind of look over here, you can see there's a lot of manure and very little bedding. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that with the shovel as well. So then step two, and just get everything off the top once I've gotten the urine out. So I'm not doing a lot of sifting again at this point, just getting everything that's very obvious. You can cut there.
Go ahead.
So as I work through the stall here, you'll notice that I kind of start on one side of the stall and then methodically work my way around. I also am kind of shaking the pitchfork as I go underneath the manure. Again, I will sift through the stall. Just at this point, this is the easiest way to thoroughly clean a stall. So I'm doing my best not to take a bunch of shavings with me. Slightly sifting. I always keep the wheelbarrow very close. That way I don't have to make a bunch of trips back and forth. Now, a lot of it has to do with some feel that you learn as you go. You'll notice or learn clean shavings aren't nearly as heavy as wet or dirty shaving. So if I go under a pile, sometimes there's a couple piles, I'll go ahead and dig a little deeper when I feel that. And this again is the quickest way to do it. So that you aren't sifting every inch of the stall, but you still get a nice thorough clean.
Okay.
So once I've gotten the stall to this point, where I've gotten all of the major stuff, everything that's real obvious that I can see that's sitting on top or is urine, now what I'm gonna do is start moving the bedding around. So what this does is it brings all of the heavy stuff to the top. And I'm gonna repeat step one, where I go along the top and get all of the manure, again, that is real easy for me to see and sitting on top of the bedding. Once I've completed that step, I'm gonna go ahead and take my shovel, and I'm gonna pull about, I'd say 3 or 4 feet away from the door. That's where I'm gonna put my wheelbarrow. And I'm also gonna pull, if there's any wet bedding underneath of the water, I'm gonna pull that away. And move all of this from the and then I'm gonna repeat moving the bedding around. So this is, you wanna do this step 3 or 4 times and make sure that you've done a real thorough job and you haven't missed any major manure or pee. that definitely will make it harder to clean the following day. And a buildup of urine is really hard on a horse's lungs. So really important. You want to basically, this is how I sift, but it saves you a lot of time versus going through the whole stall like this. Okay? So once I can move the bedding around, almost like I'm spreading gravel, right? Trying to get it kind of fairly flat. Once I've done that 3 or 4 times and I'm not getting large chunks of manure, then I'm satisfied with how the stall has been cleaned. So at that point, I'm gonna kind of take about a foot or so, kind of pull most of the bedding towards the middle. And what this does is it gives them a nice soft spot to lay. And again, just kind of make sure that you're cleaning the stall as thoroughly as possible. So at this point, this is a sufficient amount of bedding for this horse. So we aren't going to add any. And that is how the stalls get cleaned.